and welcome to Fast Fact Friday. This is Michelle with Revolutionary Resume, coming to you each week with job market updates and occasionally some tips and tricks. And welcome. Hopefully you're having a good lunch hour. ADP put out some job market news. Private sector job creation actually had the first good month of the last three. And there's actually 42,000 jobs in the private sector that grew last month. So great news. Part of that report from ADP also addresses the biggest job losses were information, professional business services, and leisure and hospitality. But it's not all gloom and doom. Whoopsie, my apologies, that is not right. Here we go. Where did they gain the jobs? What industries gained? We've got trade, transportation, and utilities. 47,000 jobs. That's a lot of jobs. Education and health services, 26,000. And financial activities, 11,000. So there are industries that are still having a lot of growth. I would definitely tailor your job search accordingly. Let's talk about frickin' IBM here. What the heck? Cutting thousands of jobs in the fourth quarter. They were not included in the overall layoffs that have been announced for next year that I covered last week. There were 9 large companies and IBM was not among them. So I saw this pop up and I'm like, oh no. It does turn out that they are going to cut quite a few jobs, nearly 3,000. None of them are in the U.S. So if you are in the U.S. and you are working for IBM and you see this, you should do what Michelle always tells you to do and make sure you're prepared just in case. You always want to be safe. I'm not here to fearmonger, but being prepared. I was a Girl Scout for a gazillion years, right? Always good to be prepared. Let's talk about Newsweek. Something about layoffs that maybe you don't know. If a company is of a certain size, they have to provide notice in advance of when they're going to do this to the government. And so let's talk. This is the WARN Act right here. All employers in the United States with 100 or more, okay, have to know. And some employers try to get by with it, but if you see this notice about your employer, that is when you absolutely have to redo your resume, make sure your LinkedIn's up to date, make sure your personal social media is removed or locked down if you think it's going to be an issue. And believe me, the silliest things can be issues. Do all that because they have to let you know ahead of time. If you're for a smaller company, unfortunately, and I've worked for a lot of them as well, you don't get this little update. So that is just some things to look out for. What have you all been seeing out there in the market? I can pretty much attest to the bent of my clients being in the professional and business services. Many of them are looking. So I saw that like a month or two ago that hemorrhage was coming. Transportation, I would see a lot of people in operations management for transportation and manufacturing are making moves. What are you seeing? Are you getting ready to make a move? Is somebody you know getting ready to make a move and they can take you with them? We do have also in that another report about jobs in that same article from Newsweek. For the first time in a very long time, we have more people looking for jobs. So not those of us that opened our own business or stopped looking altogether, took early retirement, what have you. There is 7.2 million jobs posted. There are 7.4 million people looking for work. So do not be discouraged if you're not getting answers. And I know that seems easy for me to say. Trust me, I went through it when this whole market was starting. So I got it firsthand. But I'm telling you, it's a numbers game at some point. So just keep trying, keep submitting, track them, but make sure you're also taking care of your mental health because it is very draining and it's much more emotionally charged to have to be on to get that job. So make sure you're giving yourself some grace and taking time to take care of yourself in this market, especially with the holidays coming up and all the, uncertainty with inflation and such. Just please show yourself some grace like you would anyone else, and know that there are still 7.2 million jobs out there. So you know what? Go get those stinking jobs and take care of yourself and each other. And I'll see you next week at 11:45 on Friday.